Hey, this is MJ, and in today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to make our ombre loopy trees. So the yarn that I've used for this pattern is Red Heart Ombre, and these trees are shown in cocoa, and I will be working with the green apple in today's tutorial. The pattern includes 3 sizes. As you can see here, this is the smallest size, and we have a medium and large size tree. So some of the supplies you're going to need is fabric stiffener. We're going to spray the trees down after we've completed them, and it's just going to get our loops all flattened and looking nice. Once you spray them, then it will help keep them in position so that you're not always having to fiddle around with your loops. The trees do stand up pretty well on their own, so you could easily just leave your trees without any cones. As they get bigger, it does help to hold them up a little bit better, but again, it is optional. I like to use the cones even when I'm fiddling with the loops and spraying them down. So the 3 size cones that you'll need for this set of trees, I purchased these from Michael's, and we have a 3.8 inch by 11.9 inch. That's our largest size. 3.7 inch by 8.9 inch, our medium size. And our smallest is 2.75 inch by 6 inch. And the hook size that I'm using for the pattern is a 5mm. This is a gold streamline metal hook from Furls Crochet. And I'll have the links in the description box for the trees as well as the hook. So I made a set of the trees in the brown just to show you how they could look in a different color. I think this looks really nice for fall, but you can use any worsted weight yarn. I did our bulky trees in the sparkle, and that could be done for the single strand trees as well if you want that Christmassy look. But feel free to experiment with your own color choices to match your home decor. So we're going to get started with our 5mm crochet hook. Now all of the sizes will begin the same way. So we're going to start out with a magic ring. Wrap the yarn around your index finger 3 times. Take your hook, sliding it through all 3 of the loops. Then you're going to take the first loop and pull it through. Chain 1. We're then going to work 6 single crochet in the ring. Okay, once you have your 6 single crochet, we want to pull the ring tight. So take your tail, start giving it a tug. You're going to notice only this loop is pulling, not this one. So in order to get this loop to pull in, we just pull that loop that was starting to pull in. It's going to pull the other side. Then just take your tail, pull, and now your circle is nice and tight and secure. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our first stitch is a little squished. Just going to give it a tug. We're going to slip stitch into it to join, chain 1, and we're going to work around 6 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll then slip stitch in our first single crochet to join, and we have the top of our tree started. Now we're going to be working chains of 14 to create the loops worked around. So chain 14, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So then what we're going to do is you can see our first stitch that we slip stitched into. There's the front loop and the back loop. We're going to be working through the front loops only. So we're going to single crochet through the front loop of that very first stitch and chain 14. We'll then single crochet through the front loop only of the next stitch, chain 14. Single crochet through the front loop only of the next stitch. So you're going to repeat this around so that you have 6 loops in total, 1 for each stitch. Okay, so I've worked around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 loops. Now what we're going to do is slip stitch to join. So you can see here's our first single crochet that we made. So our first chain, first single crochet in the first stitch. So if you turn, you can see then which is the first stitch we need to slip stitch into, and it's going to be the back loops now. So we'll slip stitch to join, chain 1, we'll work a single crochet, and work a single crochet in each back loop around. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the last one, 6. So now we need to find that first single crochet of the round. We'll slip stitch to join. It's tight at the beginning with only 6 stitches, but it gets a little easier as we go. So now we're going to chain 1, and this will be an increase round. So we're going to work 1 single crochet in the first 2 stitches, and then 2 single crochet in the next. 1 single crochet in the next 2, and then 2 single crochet in the next stitch. So we've now increased to 8 stitches. Slip stitch in our first single crochet to join, chain 1, and this round we'll work 1 single crochet in every stitch around for a total of 8. Now I'm just shoving my tail inside for a little stuffing at the top. And now we'll slip stitch in our first single crochet to join, chain 1, and this will be another increase. So this time we will work 1 in the first 3, and then 2 single crochet in the next, 1 single crochet in each of the next 3, and then 2 single crochet in the next. So always when we're doing the increase rounds, they will go up by 2, and we're going to basically split the tree in half, doing an increase on one side and an increase on the other side. So as we increase the size of this tree, it will always work that way. So you'll be splitting it basically in half, and it will just make the tree kind of grow consistently. So one side isn't looking off. If all the increases were to one side, your tree would end up not looking proportioned. So we're going to slip stitch now into the first stitch to join, and then we're going to be to our next loop stitch rounds. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds in between our loop rounds. We're going up by 4 stitches for each loop round. So we started with 6. Now we have 10 stitches, so that increases it by 4. So we'll work again our chain 14. And we'll single crochet in the front loop only of the first stitch. Chain 14. and single crochet in the front loop only of the next stitch. So you're going to continue this around, ending up with a total of 10 loops. Okay, so I've worked around, I have my 10 loops, and I'm going to slip stitch to join. I always, just to make sure I am slip stitching in the right place, I always take a look at that first single crochet, go to the back. I know I'm going to slip stitch right here into the back loop and chain 1. So now this time we're working around 10 stitches. So it's always a good idea to count to make sure that you stay on track with your stitch count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And you can see the 10th can sometimes be squished in there, so this is number 10. Then we slip stitch in our first single crochet to join, and then we're to chain 1, and then we're to an increase round. So now when you're splitting your tree in half, sort of to do these increases, we have 10 stitches. So that means we'll increase on the 5th stitch and we'll increase on the 10th stitch. And that's how it will always work as you increase your tree. You can follow along with your pattern for the size you're working on, just to make sure, but they do all begin the same. The difference with your trees is you'll just continue making them larger for the larger sizes. So we'll work 1 single crochet in each of the next 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we do the increase on the 5th stitch. So we put 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then increase in the last stitch, which is the 5th or the 10th. Slip stitch to join, chain 1, and then this round we just work 1 stitch in every stitch around, and then the next round is the increase, and then we've done a total of 4 between the loops, and then we'll be up to 14 stitches after the next increase. So I'm going to go ahead and work this way. I've slip stitched, chain 1, and now this time we have 12 stitches, so we're going to increase on the 6th stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and increase 2 single crochet in the next. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 2 in the next. Slip stitch to join, and then we're back to a loop round again, and this time we have 14 stitches, so we'll have 14 loops. And you're just going to continue in this manner. Now it's going to look really messy to start with. What we're going to do once you get your tree to the size you're working on, we'll meet back up again. I'm going to show you sort of the tips and tricks that I have learned to get all of your loops laying flat. I like to give them a spray down with a water bottle to start, just to sort of loosen them up a little bit. I then use a steamer, and this just really speeds up the process. I'm going to pop up a little clip on how I do this, but I sit my steamer in my sink, and then I put my tree on one of the cones, and I just start using my fingers to pull down all the loops. The steam really does help to loosen the loops up, and you get them all laying nice and flat. And then once I'm pretty happy with the tree, I then spray it down with a stiffening spray, and then I go back in and just make sure that all of the loops are looking how I want, because once it stiffens up, then your loops are going to stay in position. So go ahead and work through. For the smallest tree, you're working 8 of the loop rounds. For the medium tree, you're going to work 10. For the next size up, you're going to work 12. But that's basically how it's going to go. I'm going to work away on my tree and then I'll meet you up for the very last step. Okay, so I've been working away on my tree and you can see how it looks before we've done any blocking or fixing the loops. So I have gone ahead and done the largest size tree. So we have 12 rounds with the loop stitches. That's not our total rounds, but if we count just the loops, we should have 12 ending with 50 stitches. So I've finished my last loop round. I've worked that first round of single crochet in the back loop only, and I'm just going to show you how to finish off the tree now. So we're going to work our increase here as normal. So I'm going to work across 24, and in the 25th stitch, I will do an increase. 25 is half of 50. So we'll do the increase in the 25th stitch and then in the last stitch, and that will bring us up to 52 stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and do that round. Okay, so I've worked all the way around. I'm going to slip stitch to join, chain 1, and then the next 2 rounds, I'm going to just work 1 in every stitch. So instead of increasing the 4th round as we have been doing, I'm just going to continue working it around without an increase. I don't think the increase is really necessary as we're just finishing off the bottom of the tree. So I'm going to go ahead and work 2 more rounds of single crochet at 52 stitches. And then I'll meet you up for the finishing touches. Now, I also want to mention, if you want to make this tree bigger, you can easily just continue in the same pattern we've been working throughout to make a larger tree. I wanted to keep my trees about the size to fit the cones that I have. You can buy larger cones. You would need to make several more rounds to fit a tree over that cone, but I am doing the larger size in the bulky pattern. So if you're interested in that, this is a time-consuming pattern with all of the loops. So it's much quicker to work up a larger tree in the bulky yarn. So you may find that option a little bit better. But if you do love the single strand trees, then just go ahead, keep making your tree as big as you want. But definitely the bigger the tree, you are going to probably need that cone to stabilize it. Okay, so I completed those rounds. We're going to fasten off now. We can weave in this tail. So we're going to go to the inside of our work. You want to weave it one way, just hiding your tail through the loops, and then go back in the opposite direction. Just make sure always when you're doing this not to distort your work. Okay, so next the tree needs some work to get it looking its best. I'm going to film myself as I work over at the sink at this step because it is a little bit involved. What we're going to do is spray the tree down with some water to start with, just to kind of get it ready to be molded and worked with. Then I'm going to take my steamer. I have found you don't want to put the steam like too close onto the tree because you don't want to melt the stitches. So what I found helpful is just sitting the steamer down into my sink. I sit my tree on a cone and the steam then just comes up, and it really helps you to start being able to pull all of those loops down. So I'm using my fingers to pull all the loops. You can see that they will go down without the extra steps, but I just find it speeds up the process really quickly. Then once you have it looking how you want it, most of the loops all stretch down, you're then going to take your spray. We're then going to spray it to finish it What I like to even do after I've got my spray on, you can go through and fiddle with any loops just to get them in position because they're going to dry however your loops are at that point. So then I just once I have this all sprayed, one final touch over of the loops, then you can just allow it to dry. This does dry fairly quickly, but I usually just have my trees done and then I leave them overnight. And it does actually, this spray I purchased from Michael's. I will check if there is some of this on Amazon that I can link for you, but you can purchase it from Michael's. And it does stiffen them actually quite nicely. So your loops aren't going to mess up over time. They should stay nice and in position. You could always go back in and spray them again if over the years they start to loosen up. So once you've finished adding your stiffening spray, you just want to let your tree completely dry. Then if you take the wrapper off, it is going to help. I find this size, when you first make it, it looks like it's too short for the cone, but as you do your blocking, it should stretch it out. And then as you put it on your cone, you can stretch it to fit, and it will stick to the cone so it fits nicely. And the top two pieces don't go down on the cone, but it gives you the opportunity just to kind of squish them in to give your tree that point at the top. So now I just picked up some wooden stars from the dollar store. If you want your tree to be a little bit more festive for Christmas, you can use a glue gun and just glue the star to the top of the tree. I think it's a nice little feature, especially if you're doing your trees for Christmas. And I fitted this tree over this cone as well, and the smallest size. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and tap the bell to stay updated on all my new videos and tutorials. Make sure to check the description box below the video for the pattern links as well as the link to the yarn. Thanks so much, guys. Have an awesome day.